Hey everyone, I just wanted to give a little update on how my Ruby Ficus Elastica propagation has been going. As you can see, there's some really great new growth. This was the mother plant that I originally cut right here. I was hoping that it was gonna branch out a little bit right here, but it decided it did not want to do that. So here's the top cutting that I took. And I thought that this one was going to branch out also because it had two growth points, but it seems like as soon as one starts taking off on one side, which this one is so cute, it's growing really well, but it doesn't seem like it really likes to branch out. So I think what I'm gonna do is just plant both of these in the same pot, honestly, and we'll see what happens. All right, so I thought it'd be cool to kind of show you guys how I mix my soil up. And of course, I usually like to use a cactus soil, but I only have regular potting soil. And this stuff is like super thick. It doesn't drain very well, and it kind of will compact really easily. So I'm gonna amend it myself. I have some perlite, and then I also have some horticultural charcoal. So I'm just gonna mix some of that in there, and there's really I don't really measure this out at all, I just kind of do it. So I'm going to try to do this with one hand. I'm gonna put a good amount of perlite in, and then I'm also going to pour in a decent amount of this horticultural charcoal. I've used it in a few of my other plants and I do really like it. And then basically I'm just going to go ahead and mix it all up as best as I can, and this will just really help the soil to aerate. It'll help the water move through a little bit better, and it also will help the roots to get some oxygen, because with really thick soils like that, like the one that I was using, if I just used it on its own, I feel like the roots would just kind of suffocate. I wouldn't really have enough room, so I'm just going to finish mixing this up, and then I'm gonna pot both of these into here. And I do just want to add in really quick here that you want to make sure that you get all of that mixed in really well, because a lot of that heavy stuff will just kind of sit at the bottom of the pot, and then what we're doing here is kind of pointless. So make sure that you mix your soil mixture up very well. Finished mixing it up. Honestly, I might add some more perlite in there, but it definitely looks much better. I'm gonna start with this one right here, I think. And then I kind of just do this to loosen up what's in the pot. This is gonna be hard to do with one hand. And then I kind of like to do this so that there's not as much stress on the roots. I'm doing this with one hand, so it's a little bit harder than usual. Pop that off. So I'm gonna have the new growth that came in facing out, so that when this little guy starts growing more, it'll have a bit more space. So I'm gonna do the one next to it. Okay, there we go. Oh wow, this one rooted so nicely. That's awesome. So this was probably just a couple months of growth in here. Wow, cool. And yeah, like I said, this was the top, it took a top cutting of this plant right here. So that came off there. And you can watch my last video if you'd like on how I propagated it. Okay, so we could see where this kind of point grew out here. I'm gonna have that one facing out also, because That way when it fills in, I'll probably take these 2 bottom leaves off too. They are kind of in the way, but that's okay. Right now I just need to get it potted up. So I just took some of that soil out and I'm gonna pat it around here. I like to just kind of pat them in a little bit, make sure that they're secure. You don't have to be super rough with it, but put some thirst to that in, and that's all. All right, yeah, you know what? I am going to chop these big leaves off. These are the original leaves from when I took the top cutting. So I'm gonna cut them off. I'm gonna leave this little nub. I don't know, I'm curious to see if it actually will do anything, although based on this one, I don't think it's going to. But all part of the learning process. So I'm gonna chop these old leaves off so that this plant at least can put all of its energy into its new growth here. They have this sap that comes out and it can be irritating to your skin. I've never personally noticed a problem with it, so I'm not gonna wear gloves. I do wash my hands right afterwards. I don't know, it's just kind of sticky and gross, but so I have my handy dandy rainbow snippers here. I love these. I got these off of Amazon too. They're really pretty. But anyway, so okay. So I'm gonna cut right here, and I did bring a paper towel because it just kind of runs and runs and runs, and I don't really want it on the plant. It's like a sap basically, so that's kind of what that sap looks like. That helps at all. And then you can see it here too. It's actually not running that bad, but I just really pat it. I just want to soak some of it up so that it's not dripping all over the place. If it does drip, it does not harm the plant at all. I don't know, it's just something that I do, I guess. So let's do this other side over here, and just make sure not to cut into this stem. It's almost like a milky substance, but yeah, you definitely don't want to get this stuff in your eyes, in your mouth. I don't know what'll happen, but it probably won't feel so great. You want to keep these away from your pets too, because they are toxic to them. That looks really sad now. But I swear it'll make it grow so much more. So by cutting these 2 leaves off, for one, I think it'll make the plant look better as it grows, and also it'll let this new plant put its energy into new growth, roots, and all that good stuff. So it was really just putting a lot of energy into keeping these 2 giant leaves alive. So I'm excited to see what happens. I love the colors on these. This is one of my favorite plants ever. It's just, I love how thick the leaves are. I love how every single leaf is different. And you can see, so the more sun that you give them, I mean, you're not supposed to put them in like direct sun all day, but the more sun you give them, the pinker the leaves are gonna be. So this was like right after I chopped it, I had it under my grow light, and all of the first leaves were super pink. And then I moved it closer to a window, and it's still growing really well, but you can see these newest ones did not come out as pink as these guys that had more sun. So I'm actually going to, for the first time, try and leave this outside. It is summer here now. I think it should be okay out here. I'm just not gonna put it in direct sunlight, at least not right away. I want it to harden off a bit so that I don't just scorch these. It has been a house plant this entire time. So yeah, that's it, and I cannot wait to update you guys on how it keeps growing.